I want to thank my subscribers for sending this story. Several of you sent the story. You know who you are. Thank you very much. I got off the phone with my uncle because I wanted to know, because he's down in Florida, how much he knew about these things. They are very destructive. He gave me some real good information that I'm going to pass on to you. Once again, this is something that's not even native in Florida. Florida got quite a few things down there that's not native. And what happens is people decide to have these things as pets, get tired of them, throw them out in the wild. They start breeding and multiplying, and then you got a problem. Those pythons down there are not native to Florida. Those iguanas down there, they're not native. But see, a lot of things, these things, they multiply so fast on top of it. So if you have never seen this before, this is an African giant snail. Now, this snail is as big as a rat. They are huge. So now let me go on to something my uncle told me, and I went out and researched, and he's absolutely right. Not only is the giant African snail rat size, my uncle told me they can eat your house. And I'm like, what? He said, they can eat your house. That is absolutely insane. But see, this is what happens when folks want to own exotic animals and keep them as pets, and then you get sick of them and discard them out in the wild, and now it has created a major problem. These are native in Africa, not Florida. So let's get into this, ladies and gentlemen. The giant African land snail, which can grow up to the size of a fist or a size of a rat, carrying a parasite that causes meningitis. This is why they're saying that there are places in Florida that may have to be placed under quarantine, because any human contact with these things, you can, and meningitis can kill y'all. I'm going to tell you, I had an uncle that had meningitis. He ended up in the hospital for nearly 3 months. My uncle on my mother's side, his name was Lawrence when he was still living. He was drafted to the Vietnam War right out of high school. He did not want to go. I remember he came over from Georgia to Philadelphia, where we were, right after he graduated from high school. And I remember he was telling my mom he did not want to go. He did not want to go. 2 weeks before he had to leave, he developed meningitis. He ended up in the hospital for nearly 3 months. It almost killed him, it almost took his life. And that's how he got out of going to the war. When they found out, when the U.S. Army found out he had meningitis, they took him off the list and he did not have to go. So I know how bad this can be, especially people getting meningitis. So, Florida at one point in time thought they eradicated these giant snails, but after a decade long battle, they thought they were gone, but they are back, and they're back in a big way. The dreaded snails, known as invasive species, they were spotted in June by a gardener in Pasco County, north of Tampa. This is the first time a population of them have been detected outside of South Florida. To try to contain them, the state officials placed portion of Pasco County in the Newport Richey area under quarantine this week. And they're saying, there is possible that places can be under quarantine for 2 years. It is no joke dealing with these things. No, they're telling people no plants in yards, no plant yard waste, debris, compost, or building materials can be lawfully moved without permission for fear that the clingy mollusks will continue to spread. The quarantine extends from a radius of about a half a mile from the identified snail population and may change or grow if more snails are found. The snails return was a surprise and unwelcome development in the state where wildlife routinely makes headlines. So they really thought these things were gone. And that was something even my uncle told me on the phone. He said they really thought they eradicated the place of these things. They said nobody saw them for a long time. So they really thought they got all of them. They didn't. They didn't. They are still there and still destructive and still dangerous. Mm-mm-mm. So, during an especially rainy spring a few years ago, exterminators in Palm Beach County received a surge of calls. Mm-mm-mm. And they're talking about the poisonous toads that are down there that can kill dogs. And they were found mating in pools. They're called a bufo toads. Mm-mm-mm. I'm too scared of Florida. Pasco County is quite a bit drier than South Florida because you've got the large area of scrub habitat. This is according to Bill Kern, an associate professor at the University of Florida who specializes in nuisance wildlife management. Giant African land snails typically like humid, and they like dense vegetation, of course, in areas that are irrigated, like in nurseries or in home landscapes. They will be perfectly happy. African land snails are one of the most invasive pests on the planet, according to the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. They eat more than 500 types of plants and also feed on stucco as a source of calcium. They hide in cool, damp places during the day and feed at night, laying many thousands of eggs over their lifetime. Some snails grow to 8 inches long and 5 inches wide. Now, that's a big behind snail. They also carry a parasite, rat lungworm, which causes meningitis in humans and animals. If, say, people eat unwashed lettuce or other produce that carry the snails, so the residue of that snail is on things like lettuce and other produce, and you don't wash it and you just eat it, because they said they leave a trail of slime. Well, you should naturally wash your vegetables anyway. I don't know why you wouldn't. They're telling you do not handle the snails without wearing gloves. I don't think I would touch them things even with gloves on. I wouldn't want to handle them at all. This is according to the Department of Agriculture. Dealing with invasive species that are destructive and not just a nuisance can be very costly. Dr. Kern noted Floridians spend an estimated $100 million a year to battle a single pest. such as the West Indian drywood termite. Wow, that don't sound good either. On Wednesday, the state begun treating quarantine areas in Pasco County with a snail bait that contains a pesticide approved for use in vegetables and ornament crops, fruit trees, and other plants that disrupt the giant African land snails' digestive systems and kill them. So they said they have Melon, a rescue Labrador trained specifically to detect giant African land snails, has been actively surveying the area, according to the Agriculture Department, which owns several pest sniffing dogs. They should sit when they smell a snail. So that's how they have them trained. All right. So Florida has twice eradicated the snails before. Well, obviously, you didn't fully eradicate them if they're cropping up again. So they did this twice already in Miami-Dade County, once in 2011, and another time they had to do this was in 1975, following their initial detection in the state in 1969. Yeah, somebody brought it there because if it's native to Africa and you got them in Florida, that tells you right there. But I can see how they can thrive in the climate down there, being that it stays warm. The Agriculture Department announced in 2001 that the giant African land snail had not been found in Miami-Dade County since 2017, following an eradication effort in which 168,000 snails were collected. The snails identified in Pasco County look different from the previous ones seen in Miami-Dade County. Their flesh is creamy white rather than a grayish brown. The coloring makes the state officials suspect that Pasco County snail population may have begun from a pet snail. That's what it sounds like, released into the wild. The creamy white flesh is a more desirable trait for an illegal pet trade. Yeah, that's probably what happened. Somebody purchased one, and yeah, so once they go out there, chances are they will change in color. So the giant African snails are illegal to import to the United States without permission. But you know how it is. People are going to do whatever they want. They don't care about getting any kind of permission. Still, that is just a hunch. We're probably won't know the Pasco County population came to how the population came to be, Dr. Kern said. No, you won't, especially if somebody just put them out in the wild. Nobody's going to say anything, or not unless somebody happened to rat that person out that did it. But if it did happen, being that you got so many, it probably happened years ago. But mm, wow. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments section. I know I was repulsed when I spoke to my uncle about this. Ugh. I don't think I could be around. I don't think I could be around any place that got something, a snail that's the size of a rat. I mean, that right there would creep me out enough right there. But y'all, please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.